You're the worst. This is terrible. I hate my freaking life. Welcome, YouTube Live. Today we will be talking about the Persecutor. Oh my gosh. Hello. My name is Dr. Renee Ostertag. You've already met my inner persecutor. I am a nervous system ninja training you to become the same. Welcome to conversations about all things related to body, mind, health. Brent is already here chiming in, tuning in, which means Brent is chuming in. Tell me, my friends, where are you chuming in from? Chime in while you tune in because it is your participation in this conversation that enhances the value for both me and you. You are important. You matter. Tell me, where are you tuning in from? And what's one good thing that happened to you this past week? I would love to hear. Lena Carlson, hello from Sweden. Jen B, oh my gosh. Whew. My son died last week. Let's everybody take a moment to send Jen B some prayers. Heartfelt, sincerely, from me and Jen. I was at a funeral last week. I just pray every blessing to support you in your heart and all of your world and everyone in it right now. Paisley says hi. I bet Paisley has a good acronym for you, like peace, hug, love. Paisley, can you give us one of your gorgeous acronyms? Because it sounds like we need it in this group today. Swing eighth. Good morning. Well, thank you. I feel great today because, all the colors are more and more welcome in me. The depressed, the angry, the happy, the grateful. And I think that comes through as a rainbow. Lena, so lovely to see you. Jen is sending her love. Carolyn Schmidt, thank you for sending that love. And Brian, hello from the King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. All right, my friends. Today we are going to be doing the 5th of a 7-session series. It started out as a 6-session, but I expanded it because things emerged. So today we're talking about the persecutor role. The first 5 weeks, we talked about victim, creator, rescuer, coach. And today's persecutor, next week is creator, a 7th week, we'll put it all together. But these are the common roles that we play in our lives, in our inner world, in our outer world. And we're going to have a conversation together and explore how can we become more aware of these roles as they play out in our mind and body? And how can we get everybody to get along better? Jody is here from Vancouver, Canada. Welcome. My goodness. You all, I'm so excited to see you. And I wanted to share something about the funeral that I was at last week. So just give me a second. I'm going to go run and grab this. I suppose I can take you with me while I do. Nope, that's not true. So sorry. Hey, everybody, wave hello to Marcus. He's got to take a moment to say hi, too. Okay, so last week I was at a celebration of life. Very different story than Jen's because it was for my aunt, and she was early 90s and had dementia for a number of years and had a really good life. And so it was a true celebration of life. I also know the pain of losing somebody young. So this was a very different scenario. Hold, please. Again, my thing's over there. Nicole says greetings. Great to see you, Nicole. So good. Okay, so as we hold space for Jen, several weeks ago, I was talking about how to choose health. And one of the ingredients is to shorten the distance between tears and laughter. Acknowledge the tears. And also start being open to noticing when you laugh. And the closer that distance is, the less you'll suffer. Okay, my mom died and I had such a long time from tears to laughter. She was 47, I was 11. It was awful. we can correct these things by asking, when's the first time I remember laughing after that event? And it took me a while, but I found it. And it was Six-Fingered Mary. They got this statue on my mom's gravestone wrong. And my family and I had a good laugh in the midst of tragedy. So that is the prayers, Jen, that I hold for you specifically. Now, this is my beautiful, beloved aunt who died last week. Her husband is my dad's brother. Before she got sick, she planned her own funeral. This is amazing, folks. There's Renee Ostertag. It's glitching out. In her own handwriting on the program underneath, she planned out her own funeral, and they took the instructions and wrote it on the program. It says, "This is for my funeral. Make sure I am dead first." Oh my God. How amazing and remarkable this woman is to help us blend the authenticity of tears and the authenticity of laughter so that they can occupy the same space, place, and time. Does anybody else have a fabulous, fun celebration of life story? That was mine just last week. And I tell you, folks, last week, Santa Barbara is a 2-hour flight from Denver. It took me 13 hours to get out there and 15 hours to get back. I was really grateful for my nervous system ninja skills. Jody, she is and will continue to be a gem as seen in her over 20 grandchildren. Jen, thank you for sharing. Marcus wants to say hello. There he is. This is my dog, Marcus Barcus Aurelius. Look at that. He's wearing a new bandana that he got in Santa Barbara. Marcus, come on up and show everybody. Up. Good boy. There's a good boy. Oh, stay for a second. Stay for a second. Can you see it? Life is good. There it is. It's got purple flowers. And it says, life is good. And I got it because sometimes it doesn't feel that way. And it's a good reminder that life is good. And sometimes it's not good. And it can be good again. And that, my friends, is the prayer and intention that I hold for all of us here today. Nicole says that Tina says, hi. Hello, Awana. Hi, Tina. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Renee Ostertag. I am a physical therapist and a psychotherapist, which makes me a nervous system ninja, and I'm here to train you to become the same. This, however, is strictly educational in nature because this cannot be considered medical advice for legal purposes. So please know, if you need medical advice, support, treatment, please seek the support that you need. If you'd like it to be me, it can be me. We just need to do it in a different lens. Sign up for a free consult with me. I'm a licensed doctor of physical therapy. And Lena said it well, life can be good and bad at the same time. And that is the secret to tapping into true and sustainable joy. It's having enough space in your existence. Sorry, my dog was choking there for a second. Having enough space to hold the good and the bad at the same time. The good, this YouTube Live. The bad, my dog's choking. He's fine. I can hold those both at the same time. The best example I have of joy, like Lena's talking about, is a story of a woman who's on a train to go to a concentration camp. This glitches out. Somebody let me know if there's a problem with the tech. So this woman is on a train to a concentration camp with her husband, and the husband is holding her feet. And that was defined as joy, as being able to find and feel the tolerable in the midst of the intolerable. And that feels like such a realistic, sustainable place to stand when I think about joy and living from that place. Good, no tech problem. Mine was glitching out for a second. Oh my goodness. Goodness. I love that each and every one of you is here. I'm very sincerely grateful for you. Last week we talked about coaching. Did anybody have any reflections, learnings, or ahas this past week from shifting your awareness into more space for coaching from rescuing? Rescuing is when we're trying to be a savior of ourselves or another. It can look like unsolicited advice. It can look like resentment. When we shift into coaching, it shifts into curiosity and empowerment, true belief that you can do this, and I have the ability to support you if you need it. So, rescuing, coaching, what did you learn? What are your insights? What are your takeaways? Scott Lee, feeling good being here now. And thank you for sharing that because it's coming back at you, my friends. Even if you're not watching live and you're watching later, tune in with something. What's something good that happened for you this past week? What have you learned about rescuing versus coaching? When you type and contribute to the chat and the comments, it helps you learn it better. And I would love that. And please know, learning is incredibly awkward and uncomfortable. So if you're awkward and uncomfortable, you are doing it right, my friends. I am doing it right every day. This is so good. So awkward. Lena said, when her mom died, it felt incomprehensible that life went on. I remember that moment very well in my world. The cars didn't stop driving, but at the same time, it was such a comfort that life went on. I do. And there's beauty in that, like holding space for both. I remember the first morning going back to school after my mom died, and it was so weird that nobody else's world stopped. And also the neighbor came out and the trees were there and things kept going. It's a perplexing place to be sometimes, and also can be beautiful knowing that we're all in it together. So last week we talked about coaching and how to coach ourselves instead of saving ourselves, because sometimes saving ourselves can inadvertently keep us stuck in the victim rescuer dynamic, which we'll never get out of. And then the persecutor will chew on in for sure. So instead of saving yourself, keeping yourself inadvertently stuck in victim rescuer persecutor, what would it be like if you coached yourself and you had a list of coaching questions for yourself that you could write out and have at the ready? Some people like to have it on a little index card. A couple people have emailed me for my list. If you'd like my list, I am happy to share it with you. Please email me at info@greentreemind.com, and I will gladly share a coaching question. Here's my coaching question to you. What's one thing you are proud of this past week? My friends, today is a difficult one for me. Talking about the persecutor, I think it's because that's what my persecutor does, and it makes it hard to talk. Right? What's up, boxing and bulldogs? It's a delight to see you, buddy. Oh, I love it. Okay, friends, persecutor, who's still choking me out. Persecutor's a tough one. The persecutor loves to be right. The persecutor loves to blame and pass judgment of, I'm better, you're worse. You suck, I'm the best. And for many people, that's a pretty gross, unaccepted behavior strategy to show in the world. So instead of persecuting others, the persecutor will persecute ourselves. And this is, I think, one of the leading causes of depression. And we persecute ourselves. You suck. You're the worst. You're never going to get this done. This is never going to be good enough. Nobody's ever going to like what you have to say or want to hear what you think. Mm. Notice your body right now as I'm talking about persecutor role. Let's take a break from persecutor and see some wins. Persecutor's rooted oftentimes in shame and fear. And the antidote to shame in particular is pride. Authentic pride. I'm really proud of myself. So Jody says she was really proud of herself. Instead of jumping into rescuer mode, she asked if they wanted her input instead of just launching into it. Yes. Way to contribute to a more nonviolent world, Jody. I love that win for you, and how empowering for another person to make a choice and have their own voice in the say. Way to go, Jody. Scott Lee learned to stop coaching unsolicited. What a gift. It's difficult to not help when someone isn't ready. Yes, we should probably do a live on readiness for change because that's a whole thing. I'm going to make a note to myself. Future planning, readiness for change. Are you ready for a change? Not all of us are. We think we are, but we may or may not be fully ready in the entirety of our human system, right? There's different stages of change. So we'll do a live on that. Nicole has definitely experienced the same thing as Scott lately. It's so nice to know we're all in this together, my friends. This is a hard road, this life. It's freaking, and I'm with you in it, and you're with me in it, and somehow that makes it better. Okay. Anybody else have anything they are proud of? If you type it, it will grow it in your circuits. Do it now, do it later. Just do it. Tell somebody, ask somebody. It's a great coaching question. What are you proud of lately? I actually need to add that one to my list. Yes. What are you proud of lately? I got to tell you, I'm proud of my inner game. It's changing with all this drama versus empowerment roles and improv. There's this whole theater in the stage of Renee's inner life, which changes how Renee shows up for all the world that is a stage. And I'm proud of my persecutor is becoming more and more willing to share the stage with other players besides just beating up the victim within and the rescuer within and everyone else under the sun. The rescuer's kind of bringing on the challenger, and we'll talk more about the challenger next week, but it's been a lovely visual of like there's more space, right? For if we're going to go dichotomy, if the persecutor's bad and the challenger's good, I'm holding more space in my human system for both the persecutor and the challenger. And this is funny. This guy was actually my father's, who was like great material for the voice of my inner persecutor, Willie Ostertag. The year I was born, 1978, San Francisco Sheriff's Air Squadron. He would call the meetings to attention. So perhaps I should call every YouTube live to attention here. Oh, Swing Eighth. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for chiming in. You're really proud of yourself for overcoming hypersensitivity and going out to seek. That's gorgeous. Huge round of applause. Way to go, Swing Eighth. Yes, way to go. Nicole overcame some gnarly anxiety in my body on righting and righting wrongs. Oh, what a win when you feel it in your body. That's like the final step to home of like, yep, I'm getting stronger and more confident in this learning, in this lesson, and my ability to cope with this situation. Yay. Okay, friends, these talks are about learning how these roles live in your body. So I'm going to read some statements from thepowerofted.com. David Emerald came up with this gorgeous white paper. And it's got colors on it, and my printer's a little janky and running out of ink. And so I think it's kind of fun that the drama triangle has all these like blurred lines. I think it's getting weaker in my system. Okay, so I'm going to read the thoughts, the feelings, and the behaviors of the persecutor. We're going to do thoughts first, then feelings, then behaviors. And I'm going to pause between each one to give you some time and space to learn how that lives in your body. And again, in the request spirit of deeper learning, please share what you notice. Okay. Oh my gosh. Swing eighth. Yes, you went to see live music. Wow, that'll change your brain in a hurry. Way to go. Live music, any kind of music, even humming is such a fast way to regulate your nervous system. Okay, I will be reading thoughts of the persecutor, and my invitation to you is to notice your body and pay attention as these words land in your ears and system at large. What do you notice come up in your body? The thoughts of a persecutor. I must win. Dominating others will get me ahead. I know best. What do you notice in your body when you hear the words of what a persecutor thinks? I must win. Dominating others will get me ahead. And I know best. Okay, folks, I got to tell you, my heart is racing. The tension that I feel across here is fierce. It is strong. It is powerful. And it's powerful in its ability to take me down. God, this is so painful to say out loud because it just strikes such a chord of my own inner persecutor and how it lives in me. How does it live in you? I would love to hear. Okay. Type it in the chat. Oh my gosh, I love emergent constructs of consciousness. Okay, there's linear and there's emergent. There's another live we're going to do. It's already planned. But this is emergent. When you pay attention to your body to see what happens, that's unpredictable. You never know what's going to come up, and it could be good, it could be bad. It's usually a combination of all of it. But, emergent constructs of consciousness are so unpredictable and novel and oftentimes scary. So thanks, Nicole, and those of you that contributed. Nicole's first thoughts were, I'm pretty smart. Yes, I would actually agree with you. And that's great evidence that the persecutor isn't all bad. It has an underlying positive intention and it carries innate wisdom. And the more we can see it and acknowledge it as such, like it's a fiercely devoted fighter for what you know. That's awesome. And then the persecutor can step out of being persecuted and persecuting itself and you because we're celebrating what's good and right about it. Carolyn, first a big yes, and then my body was wanting to move forward. Yes, and then shame. Oh, that'll sink you back in a hurry. That's a beautiful example of how the emergent nature of persecutor and everything in life as it lives in the body, it's good, it's bad. I want to shame, I want to go forward. Oh, but don't. Because once upon a time when I did, it was bad. No wonder. And we call this self-sabotage. It's torture for ourselves. Owana, proud of treating myself and automatically others better. That's a beautiful, good response. I love that, right? Not all is bad about the persecutor. And honestly, mine loves hearing that. It's softening across here. Paisley's thoughts of the persecutor. I must win. Oh, thank you for that recap. That's gorgeous. Dominating others will get me ahead. I know best. And oh, as a result, I'm guessing of writing that, Paisley, you feel the need to be perfect paralysis. Raise your hand if you can relate, right? My persecutor says, you better be perfect or else, right? That's so shaming. And then my rescuer comes in and, okay, let me, people, please, everybody, let me get it all right. Let me get all A's. Let me dance through every hoop you have and twist myself up into a pretzel until I'm exhausted. And then I have adrenal fatigue. Yes. Well, we all know that one. And by we all, I mean me. Maybe others can relate. Carolyn, I already read yours. Who else do we have here? Brent, I spent a day with my closest friend who has lung cancer. Lots of teasing and laughter. Grateful. That's what you're proud of, and I love it. Thank you for sharing. Oh, Solomia says, I must win makes me shake. How do you interpret that? I have a story about that, but I'd love to hear yours. Whatever it is, I do think it's incredible and beautiful. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, Scott says about the persecutor thoughts, it's okay to say that to myself. To others, not so much. Yep. I think that's the way many people's persecutor goes, is it turns inward. And then we feel insecure and depressed and ashamed and scared. Ugh. Wouldn't you be if you constantly had a voice in your head beating the living tar out of you for everything? Again, raise your hand. I know this well. It has disastrous effects on mind and body health. Lena says it doesn't resonate with me, maybe because it describes my mom in a nutshell. My inner persecutor is telling me that everyone else knows better than me and I shouldn't think I'm so special. Wow. It's powerful how the voices of the drama triangle can be so directly related to a voice of the parent. I love my dad, Willie Ostertag. He and I have a better relationship than ever. He passed away, but yeah, that inner persecutor sounds an awful lot like my father. He was really hard on us, and I'm really hard on me, and I'm working on softening that because compassion helps these things. So, Lena, I'd be curious, that doesn't resonate with you. Where do you go instead, right? If inner persecutor's not a safe one, or you, which one is? It's a curious thought. Jody, the persecutor is the worst critic at times, but also can be there as a survival mechanism. I have to do this because my survival depends on it and I know how to do it. Jody, I want to take an extra moment here to really appreciate you because every comment I've read from you has added so much value. So thank you sincerely for your contribution live and in the comments. In my experience, I'm curious what yours is, Jody, and anybody. You're welcome to. Thank you. Jody, how do you get to a place of being able to see the survival mechanism underlying it, right? Curiosity, compassion, and then when we can see the good in the inner persecutor, because it really is coming from a survival mechanism, that's what softens it and lets it become more integrated into your human system. And my inner persecutor is really enjoying learning from my inner challenger. Jeff, I must say that although I've received help from therapists, nothing has helped more than Buddhist philosophy and meditation. Therapy is a poor imitation. Thank you for that perspective. I just listened to Dick Schwartz, the start of one of his books. He was a therapist, and over the course of 30, 40 years, it led him to spirituality. And I like thinking of that trajectory, like therapy might everything I like to believe, I feel better when I do, has an underlying positive intention. And the more I can remember that and not shame it, I feel better. But I agree with you. I think therapy is a piece, and spirituality probably can hold a bigger container. Um, Lena, the 3 statements. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to those 3 statements. Yeah. All of this is an inward job, which is why I'm going to be hosting a course in either June or July. Stay tuned. I'm very excited about this. This whole conversation inspired this about mastering your inner game, where improv meets the drama triangle. Woo! And shift yourself into the empowered triangle. It's still a creative work in progress, but stay tuned and join if you can, because you will make it better. Lena doesn't think she's been driven to be perfect by her persecutor, more that it's no idea to try as I'm useless. Oh God, that's heartbreaking. The stories these persecutors will tell us about ourselves, like Scott said, you'd never say it to somebody else, but it'll say it to yourself all day and wreak havoc on the quality of your life. Solomia is also a very good persecutor. And Owana, the persecutor thoughts made me feel shame and loneliness. Yes. That's why I'm taking a nice big break in between. Let's go back though. Do a little shake your body. Shift your energy, wipe it off if you need to. Let's explore the feelings that a persecutor will have and notice your body. Notice what comes up when you hear the feelings of the persecutor. Defensive, on guard. Pay attention to your body. Discounted, so must lash out. The final feeling of a persecutor is self-righteous. Defensive, on guard, discounted, so I must lash out, and self-righteous. What do you notice in your body? For me, I feel a real heavy sense of disgust from like here to here. I want to do that with my body. And I think it's the disgust of my own, like, strong belief that I am right, you are wrong, and I am all knowing of what is right, just, best, and good for you. It's so disgusting to me, and yet kind of a little joyful, because it's so chemically comfortable. And it's a strategy, my friends, to try and make myself feel better from where I carry trauma, shame, and fear. I know 100% that my inner persecutor is trying its darndest, and it's probably quite exhausted, to try and feel better from the victim that it's protecting. Oh, okay. What are you all saying here? The persecutor thoughts, Owana said, made her feel shame and loneliness. Solomia is a good persecutor. Paisley, thank you again. The feelings of the persecutor: defensive, on guard, discounted, so must lash out, oftentimes preemptively, self-righteous. Jody, welcome. You feel disgust and embarrassment. You know, embarrassment is a progression of improvement from shame. Shame, guilt, embarrassment, humiliation. So that's lovely. And I join you in company. Solomia's laughing. Paisley feels the pride that she's made in accomplishing these feelings. That's beautiful. Such a healthy, lovely experience to notice. Carolyn feels anger and rage. Yep, my jaw will say, I know those feelings well. Because oftentimes for me, the persecutor lives in my jaw, that like, ooh, you MRFer, I'm going to get you. Oh, yeah. And the persecutor is using the only tools that it has, which is why I think there's so much value in creating space in your inner stage for all six roles and letting the persecutor share the stage so that it doesn't feel alone is actually very loving and compassionate, and it helps it be less afraid. All right. Behaviors of a persecutor. Notice your bodies. The persecutor dominates and controls. The persecutor behaviors critical and blames. Notice your body. The persecutor behaviors exerts covert or overt power over others. My neck is tense. What do you notice? I noticed this funny, annoyed and tired of these persecuting strategies that don't work. Like it doesn't actually meet the need. My persecutor is becoming more self aware of the limitations in its toolbox. And it's actually, in a lot of humility, opening up, saying, "Thanks for talking about me here," because we're pretty tired of fighting a battle that doesn't actually go anywhere except sink me further down into a quicksand pit of despair. Paisley, I appreciate you. I really do find you very helpful. So read The Behaviors of a Persecutor. Mm. Carolyn, that's beautiful. Tears are healing and they're coming with lots of regret and mourning about these behaviors and how they run your life. Yep. I've spent a good 20 years persecuting romantic partnership and struggled a lot in that regard. And it's so clear. It's because the persecutor had a monologue on my life in that context. So thank you for sharing, Carolyn. Uh, Paisley, appreciate you. Solomia, thumbs up. Jeff, thanks for your kind response regarding my perspective on Buddhism. And I want to add that Buddhism is not a religion, it's a spiritual practice. Much of what you teach is known as mindfulness. Beautiful, Jeff. Thank you for the clarity. And yeah, the word itself, religion, can be a very tricky word for a lot of people. So I appreciate your clarity. Lena said the question that she added to her coaching list is, what is my need right now? Beautiful. My persecutor needs compassion and a bunch of friendly buddies so that it doesn't feel alone, because it is really hurt and tired. Jody feels resistance to the persecution. Time to replace it. Beautiful. Oh, Jeff, mindfulness of the body as taught by Buddha 2,600 years ago. You know, if something's been around 2,600 years, it's a fair degree of credible evidence of effectiveness for me. I appreciate you, Jeff. Lena, damn right, Jody Mitchell. It is time. Let's stretch the stage within and give ourselves more options besides the persecutor and how it can be destructive despite its good intentions in our life. Paisley, the critic, still sneaks out occasionally. Oh, yeah. Realistic expectations, my friends. Like, we all have all six roles. Which ones are most prevalent and familiar in our body, in our mind, and in the stage of our life? And can we stretch and expand to have more choice available to us? I love believing that the answer is yes. Again, shameless plug for a course that I'm running. 3 weeks, 3 weeks. You can opt in for the second 3 weeks. It's a minimum of 3 weeks, maximum of 12 people. Let's do this work together. I would love to have you there. Okay, I want to tell a story of how my persecutor, victim, and creator teamed up against with the persecutor of another, and we had a big win. It's a big win here, my friends. So let's see what else. Owana. The feeling of the persecutor triggered a feeling of collapse in my body. Yes, 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 yes. The fastest, there's many ways to know who's running the internal show, who is in the driver's seat control panel of your physiology. You can look at your body, you can look at your behaviors, you can look at your thoughts, your feelings. I think those are a little harder to interpret, but definitely body, breath, behaviors, those are quite concrete, objective pieces of data to let you know who's running the show. And my training originally is as a physical therapist. I know the body well. I've interacted with tens of thousands of bodies over the last 20 years plus. So, where does your persecutor live in your body? How do you know that it's there? On some level, it is crying out for your help to become aware of it. It has an unmet need. I know for me, when I'm tense here and here, my persecutor is holding on for dear life. Owana noticed collapse. Absolutely. Right. Like for me, like that is victim. If I have this plus this, I know I'm in a victim persecutor. Ugh. And then my rescuer comes along and says, it's okay. It's all good. We're going to be okay. Okay. So I know my body and my behaviors, they clue me in who's running the show. My question to you, for you to stew on, mull over, cycle through, swoosh around, whatever it is you do with compassionate curiosity. Type in the comments now or later, what are the tells that your body has to you that your persecutor is here? I would really encourage you to give that some thought and share. It's a brave thing to do. It will help you learn it better. And there's so oftentimes shame involved with the persecutor. And the more we can see that it lives in others and we're not alone, it disseminates the chokehold that the shame has on you and that freeze response that can go along so often with it. So let's hear from you. It was really helpful for me a couple weeks ago to know that when I'm in a 1, 2, 3 punch, I'm collapsed. There's my victim. I'm tense. There's my persecutor. And then my rescuer goes really high energy to try and override. Okay, that's my pattern. I don't know yours. But knowing that pattern helped me so much a couple weeks ago. I was sitting in that chair, actually the other chair, and I had a client that I was working with. Now, this lovely human is a psychologist for 30 years, getting ready to retire. What I'm saying there is there's a lot of experience and knowledge of her own self. And she came in and had just had an incident with a family member that triggered her, it activated her defense system. She came in hot, 10 out of 10, flying off the handle persecutor. And she's yelling at me. And that was a scary thing for my nervous system to experience. And I know that she wasn't yelling at me. She was yelling about the situation with her family member. She likes engagement and connection and community. And she tried to connect with a family member who, because of a freeze response, shut down. And she felt hurt, abandoned, betrayed, rejected, all those unpleasant, fun, favorite, fabulous things. And it was so fresh, and she got it. And then I got it. And then she's in that chair and she's yelling at me and she's persecuting this family member of hers whose behavior are a natural biological expression of freeze. And so it activated her persecutor. And as her persecutor's coming at me, I'm online, I'm present, but my nervous system shut down and went into a freeze. Yes, Jody, she was shouting for herself. And I cognitively knew that. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you for helping me see it deeper and wider. Like she's shouting for herself, kind of at this guy, at me. It's super big energy. And it was feeling overwhelming to my nervous system. And I was really present to the fact that she was persecuting him for having a freeze response that was driving his behaviors. And so my victim was shutting me down. My persecutor didn't want to persecute her back because I know the ineffectiveness of that. My rescuer is like, I'm out of here. We can't solve this. So in stepped my creator. This is just a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty clear it's because I have more room on my stage because of these conversations. This thing came out of me that was the most brilliant thing. I was like really proud of my inner creator for popping it out. I asked her, what's it like for you with me here now to experience a positive freeze? And she stopped in her tracks and was like, huh? Like it shocked her out of her current mode. And she said, what? I said, what's it like for you to notice me in a positive freeze right now? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm here with you. I'm present to all that's here. But my nervous system on some level is shut down and in a freeze. It's afraid and it's scared because it's overwhelmed by how much love you have. You have love for yourself. You have love for this person. You have love for your family. You have love for your friends. You have love for your clients. You have love for your community. Your love is so big that it is overwhelming me into this gorgeous freeze response. And she and I both were like, what? Like, I was shocked it was coming out of me because it was way better than what the persecutor or rescuer could have ever created. And it was such a gorgeous moment of creation because I knew that piece of information was knowledge that expanded her understanding and promoted more compassion. She said, I didn't know freeze could be good. I always thought freeze was all bad. And that persecutor in her was very stuck in a cognitive distortion of thinking good, bad, all or nothing, right or wrong, black and white. And her persecutor was locked into a neurological paradigm where freeze is all bad. And I watched her persecutor's window open of perspective and possibility to like, freeze can be good. I'm not all bad. I'm loving. My love is big. That's beautiful. And I watched her nervous system arousal just it eliminated all of its hot air and it just emptied like a deflated balloon in the most beautiful ways. And so that's a really, in my mind, powerful example of what can happen when we expand the stage for more characters in the inner world of our stage to have space. And I think that's one of the keys to help support the persecutor: knowledge, understanding, compassion. I have another story about that, and I want to check in with all of you. Does that story bring up anything for you? Okay, Scott, feeling defeat from not being an expert at something musically these days after a relatively short time of training. Okay, Scott, I have another example of that will directly relate to my dog, who's on the floor sleeping. Marcus Barcus Aurelius, the love of my life, my gorgeous family, reminding me that life is good. Knowledge leads to understanding, promotes compassion. So Scott's feeling defeated, probably because his persecutor had some expectations of himself. You should be an expert musically, even though I have completely unrealistic expectations, given that you've trained like this and you expect yourself to perform like this. Oh, Nicole, thank you for your tears. Beautiful perspective. Freeze can be gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's awe. It's wonder. Okay. Scott and I have persecutors cut from the same cloth. I wasn't raised in a family with dogs. I got a dog for the first time on my own when I was 43. I had a roommate that had a dog. My ex-boyfriend and I had a dog. So I had like maybe a couple years of observing dog experience, but never me and dog, just the two of us. So I had about this much experience and training, and my expectations to be a master dog owner were ginormous. And I would constantly, look at that, I'm the persecutor right now. I would constantly beat myself up. That's what a persecutor would say. As I created more space, I began to notice the unrealistic expectations that the persecutor had of me and the out of check connection to objective reality. Why would I expect somebody with this much training to behave like a master in that much experience? It's not a realistic expectation, folks. So, knowledge can promote understanding. Here's how I was able to recalibrate. I'm watching this masterclass on dog training by Brandon McMillan. I'm a masterclass junkie, folks. Brandon McMillan is an expert dog trainer, and he shared a story about how there's certain things about an animal, their breed, their age, their like indwelling DNA. They are who they are. You can't train it. It's not an accurate thought process to think that you are 100% responsible for your dog's behaviors. Now, my dog has a really strong prey drive, and I have been, there it is again, I have been beating myself up. I am the persecutor in this moment. Okay, let that, like, yes, the persecutor has been beating myself up. I am the person. I'm beating myself up, man. It's like a whole jungle in there. For like, I was expecting to be able to train prey drive out of my dog. The master trainer said, you cannot train prey drive out of a dog. You just learn to manage it. And so you adjust your choices. So I don't take my last dog, who has a really strong prey drive, to a park with hundreds of squirrels. I've been beating myself up for how strong my dog's prey drive is with rabbits. Just make different choices. Don't go to that side of the park, right? Oh, now I understand because of that knowledge. I have had unrealistic expectations. That breath, more compassion. So, my question to you, friends, I had one. I had two. I always have lots of questions. How does your persecutor live in your body? Sit with these for a week. Who do you persecute? When? Where? Why? What's the story, the narrative that that persecutor has? I'm not a good enough dog owner. Scott's not a good enough musician. What's the story of your persecutor? And this is a little seed for next week. Start activating your challenger to the story that the persecutor has by asking yourself, is this story objectively and absolutely true? I know that many of us, myself included, suffer a lot when we make the critical error in our thinking that our subjective perspective is absolute objective truth. It's not, my friends. It's your truth. It's important. It matters. But your subjective perspective, respectfully, is not objectively the whole truth that exists in the universe. Let's open up to that truth, and the challenger can start to support the inner persecutor. As Solomia says, practice, practice. Yes. And I'd add about 14,000 more onto that, and then we'll get more uh, knowledge, training, fun, joy. Please, my friends, what is your takeaway from today? I really, really learned so much from all of you. Seriously, your comments, your emails, they are inspiring to me. And I'm very, very, oh, I feel so grateful. Jody has this gorgeous question. Ask the persecutor what they're worried about. What a beautiful, curious question. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Paisley, she's overthinking. Oh God, the persecutor's vigilance. What did I miss? What did I miss? So the persecutor lives in my body and my thoughts and brain. Absolutely. Your brain is a part of your body. And your brain's job is to think thoughts, just like your heart's job is to pump blood. It's beautiful. It's why you're alive. And what I think is gorgeous is that we can shape our nervous system to create different life experiences for ourselves and the world around us. Da, 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 da. Brent Green's takeaway. What's your takeaway? Type it in the chat now or later. Brent Green, beating myself up equals sometimes a fountain of future accomplishment. That's gorgeous. I hear a positive appreciation for what the persecutor can do. Nicole, people thinking I'm stupid. Good one, Jody, says Scott. Cheers, Renee. Much appreciation and love, Scott. Back at you, my friend. True that, Brent. Okay, Brent and Nicole, I don't know that I'm fully following what you're saying here. Beating yourself up is sometimes a fountain of future accomplishment. Don't know. Solomia's got the humor in the mix. Being a persecutor is very funny. That is definitely an indicator that you have a wider stage and more room for the different characters in your life. Because yes, the only difference between tragedy and comedy is time. My friends, more time can turn tragedy into comedy. By the way, on Saturday this week, I'm going to a comedy workshop. Oh my gosh, to learn from a stand-up comic who wrote for SNL and is a professional. So stay tuned. I'm gonna share more of my experience from that next week. And I will challenge my persecutor's story that I suck and nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Oh, Jody, you really are a good resource for me. Thank you. It pushes you to do better. Yes, I would agree. And I will challenge that, like anything, there's a point of diminishing return. And this is very cool. Self compassion research actually shows greater success and productivity than self persecution. Um, self compassion, folks, scientific studies show self compassion is actually anti inflammatory. What? Ah, I love science. Okay. Wrapping up here, any final thoughts, takeaways? I'd love to hear it. Nicole, people always labeled me as dumb as a kid because I learned differently. So I now know. So I know that I am self-taught. I take pride in that, which counters the shame, and has led me and supported me on my journey. Every role can serve us well. And I find, that's just a nice thing to sit with, actually. Scott is excited to hear about the entertainer side. Me too, Scott. Thanks for your support. It's definitely a good kind of scary as I'm shifting um, my own inner stage to more creator, coach, challenger, less gripped fear, more fun in the face of it. Everybody, I've enjoyed your time together with me here today. It is valuable. Your time is worthwhile, and it means a lot to me that you took it to spend with me here today and with Marcus Barkus. He was very engaged this whole time on the floor, happy as a lark, sleeping away. My friends, we will see you next week for the Persecutor. And then the week after that will be how to interplay and use self energy and comedy to get all 6 of these roles playing together nicely. And if you want more, we're going to have a course in June, July. Nicole, thank you. Owana, we will keep giving kindness and support to the Persecutor. Jody, I appreciate you. Until next week, thank you, everybody. We will see you. Bye, Paisley. Bye, Vidya. See you next time.